You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
All right, and welcome to the newest addition to the Options Insider Radio Network. The Hot Options Report going to be coming at you every day after the close to break down all of the action that's lighting up the options tape that day. The Hot Options Report is brought to you by Public. Now, if you're listening to this show, chances are that you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees, whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades. Every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Again, the Hot Options Report brought to you by Public. Full disclosures in the podcast description. But now it's time for the inaugural launch episode. So without further ado, let's get down to business. Let's kick things off as we like to do, going broad, and then we'll narrow it down into what's dominating the stock options that you know and love out there. Let's kick it off in Volland, aka VIX. How hot was VIX today? 664,000 contracts on the tape. That's a little bit lighter than his ADV of 782,000 contracts, which again, midsummer, mid-July, that's actually a pretty spicy ADV, all things considered. We usually expect it to be a lot lower this time of year. If you're wondering what was lighting up the tape in VIX today, the most active contract was the July 17 put, 60,000 of those hitting the tape out there. That's been a hot option for a while, and it continues to be the top option in VIX yet again today. Moving on to SPY, 6.6 million contracts hitting the tape in SPY today. That's also a little light considering the ADV is 8.34 million. But then again, mid-July, usually not a hot time for the options market. The big dog in SPY today, 593,000 of the 624 calls, of course, expiring today because all the indexes are all about 0 day these days. By the way, if you're wondering, SPY went out 624.70 today. And moving on to the S. The S put up 3.08 million contracts today. That's about 600,000 contracts below its ADV. If you're wondering what was dominating the tape in the S today, 180,000 of these 6270 calls. Once again, slightly out of the money calls expiring today, dominating the tape. The S went out 62.68.56. So if you were buying those calls, a little bit of a sad face for you out there today. Moving on to small caps, 1.19 million contracts on the tape. Pretty darn close to its ADV of 1.25 million. The big dog in small caps, bucking the trend as always, not 0 day, but actually going out to August. It was the August 230s. 110,000 of those bad boys hitting the tape today. And bringing up the rear, it's the Qs, 3.5 million contracts. pretty much within spitting distance of its ADV of 3.65 million. The big dog in the queues, 0 day as always, 234,000 of the 555 puts. The queues went out 556.13. So if you're buying those, once again, no joy for you. Moving on to our single name most actives. What made it in our top 10 today? What was dominating the equity options tape out there? Number 10, return of an old favorite, an old friend. It's NIO. Going out to Chinese EV makers. NIO, 416,000 contracts on the tape. So a hot day for NIO. The big dog out there, 41,000 of the September 3.5 calls. Fairly in the money calls. Now the stock closed at 417 today, listeners. So NIO back in the top 10. It's been a while. Number 9, a frequent offender. It's SOFI, 418,000 contracts on the tape. The big dog out there today, 19,000 of the July 22 calls. Slightly out of the money calls. The stock closed 21.35 today. Number 8 is the Amazonians, 435,000 contracts on the tape. The big dog out there today, 46,000 of the 230 calls expiring this Friday. The stock closing 225.79. So Amazon's got to get up and go if it wants to hit that 230 strike by the end of the week. Number 7, it's Mara going out to crypto land, 536,000 contracts on the tape. Of course, Bitcoin making a new all-time high this week. That is spilling over into a lot of the options flow on crypto-related names. The big dog out there in Mara today, 37,000 of the 20 calls expiring this Friday. Another one that's got to get up and go. The stock closed today, 19.26, so needs to run a bit if it wants to hit the 20 handle by the end of the week. Number 6, AMD, 568,000 contracts on the tape. The big dog out there today, 52,000 of the 150 calls expiring this Friday. Same story here. The stock closed 146 in the third, so it's got to get up and go if it wants to hit the 150 strike by the end of the week. And number 5, it's the monster, aka MicroStrategy, 628,000 contracts on the tape. The big dog out there today, about 38,000 of the 450 calls expiring this Friday. A little bit of a different story here. These are already in the money after the big move it made today. The stock went out 451.52. Number 4, to the fruit company we go, aka Apple, 691,000 contracts on the tape. The big dog out there today, almost 81,000 of the 210 calls expiring this Friday. So slightly out of the money calls, kind of a bit of a theme in our top 10 today. Number 3, it's Palantir, 925,000 contracts on the tape. The big dog today, about 54,000 of the 150 calls, again expiring this Friday. Again, slightly out of the money. The stock closed today, 149 and about a quarter. Number 2, it's Tesla. Once again, 1.36 million contracts on the tape. The big dog out there today, nearly 88,000 of the 320 calls also expiring this Friday. You picking up the theme, listeners? The stock closed about 317 and a quarter, so Tesla's got a little ways to go to hit that 320 strike. Of course, it's a day that ends in Y. Tesla can do that pretty easily. And then the big dog out there topping our list yet again today, listeners, NVDA, 1.86 million contracts on the tape. The big dog in NVIDIA, 200,000 of the July 165 calls expiring this Friday. The stock closed 164.17, so a little bit of an extra push. It can get there by the end of the week. And that's it for our inaugural episode of the Hot Options Report. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be coming back to you every day after the close to break down all the hot action, what's lighting up the tape in the world of options. So we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, stay safe out there.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options. stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.